Hello and welcome to this week's New at 2. This is Kaylin and Ashley.
Hi.
Coming to you from the Oklahoma City store. Jan is away at a management meeting, so we thought we would take some time to show you a little bit about the Baby Lock Capella and monogramming on hats. Everybody always wants customized hats, and so we just wanted to give you guys some tips and tricks on how to make it as easy as possible. So if you want to come closer, first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you how to do the monogram itself.
Okay.
So in my Baby Lock Capella, which is my single needle free arm, if you look here, it's got all the features of a multi-needle, but in a more economically priced single needle format.
Got it.
I'm going to have my monogram category. Of course, it just looks like a monogram. And I have my options here if I want to do 3 letters, 2, or have them be
More straight
on. So I actually prefer the hexagon style myself. So we're going to do B with our right hand. If you look here, I have 3 categories: the right hand shapes, the center shapes, and the left hand shapes, the center shapes, and the right hand shapes. I know things. It's fine.
I have to hold up my hands to figure out my left and right.
And then we're going to do an S, and then we're going to do an I, so that it's all be sew in, right?
There we go.
Now I do have sizing, but if you notice, see how it's only sizing that first one? So if I know I need this to be smaller, then I want to size it at the first letter that I do.
Got it.
So we'll switch it to medium today. So B, medium, S, and it'll stay medium once I set it to medium.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to say set.
Okay.
If I wanted to add one of the decorative frames to this, I can go over here to add, go back to my monograms, and that 4th category is some pre-made designs that are meant to go around my monograms. Now, there's all kinds of different ones for all kinds of different styles or tastes that people might have. You can size them to fit the monogram that you're doing.
That's handy.
Or you can just leave them off entirely. If I say, no, you know what, I just want my letters, I don't have to do anything additional to it. I have all the same options that I would have with text editing on here. So if I wanted it to be multicolor, as in change the thread between each letter, I can still do that. I can still change the space, density, all that good stuff. But honestly, I'm just happy with what it already is. And remember, the machine doesn't know what thread color you have in here. So the fact that it's black and I've actually threaded teal is totally fine.
Got it.
So we're going to go to embroidery. And now I could either just stitch this out on whatever product I want, or I can prep for a cap frame.
Got it.
And that's what we're going to do next. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, I don't know if you can see it.
Let's see. There we go.
It's a little kind of bobbin, like, adapter.
Flat spacer guy.
Yeah. And it has 2 pegs on the bottom of it that fit into the 2 holes around my needle drop position.
Okay.
This is important for the cap frame because it helps keep everything spaced properly for that specific frame.
Perfect.
What I'm going to do from there is I am going to unscrew my A arm, because that's what I have on right now, and that's going to hold most of my standard frames.
Okay.
I'm going to reach in so that you can still see. I'm going under here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't normally recommend doing it that way, but so that you guys can see, we can go ahead and do that.
Perfect.
Okay. And then I'm going to take this off and I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to put it in the bag with the rest of the Capella stuff so that I don't lose it.
There we go.
It's big, but you know, I don't want to assume that I won't lose it. Okay. This is the jig that my cap frame is going to go onto, because it allows this to rotate in order to actually move the cap frame for the stitching.
Sense.
Okay, so what it has on it is the 2 holes that the regular screws are going to go in, but it also has screws on the underside here and here that are going to help clamp it from both the top and the bottom so that it's as sturdy as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to very carefully
not whack our needles in the process.
Well, you know, best laid plans, right? Okay, I'm gonna do that, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place my 2 holes for my screws on the 2 pegs right there. Now the cap frame comes with 2 screws, but you do have the 2 screws that came on the machine. So it's more like you got 2 extras. You don't need to put in 4 screws.
Got it.
But I'm going to do those here and here. You probably can't see this one right now. So. And then I'm going to take my handy dandy multi screwdriver, tighten them down. And then on the underside, if you can see, I have my larger screws that I'm going to screw in as well. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do the same thing where I come back in with my screwdriver and give them a little extra tighten, okay? So that is how you put on the cap frame, and now that can rotate to move the cap for stitching.
Got it.
If you look at your machine now, as soon as I put that on, the machine knows that that's what's on there. It's a Baby Lock branded item. It's going to tell me that the carriage is going to move because it's adjusting now for the cap frame. And if you look here, I don't know if you can see it on the video screen, but I have a tiny little box in the middle of my editing area. That is telling me where the stitchable field is with that cap frame. And if you notice, my BSI is now upside down.
Okay.
Because when we put the cap frame on, it's going to be turned into the machine. So if it was right side up to us here, it would be upside down on the final cap.
Got it.
Right. The first time I ever used a cap frame, I was like, why is it upside down? And I flipped it. And then whenever I stitched my hat, yeah, it was upside down.
Oops.
So learning curve, right? Okay. So the next thing we need to do is hoop our cap. You can put stabilizer in here if you need to. This hat is actually extremely stable on the inside here. So with this one and such a light design, I'm going to skip it.
Got it.
But what you do need to do is you've got your sweatband in here. And you need to fold that. Oh, just drop your hat.
Throw it on the floor.
Hold that open.
Got it.
Okay. And then come with me this way. What you're going to have is a cap frame right here. There's a few different types of cap frames. This one is kind of, I think of it as kind of the standard cap frame.
Yeah.
And so what you're going to do is your sweatband needs to tuck underneath this metal piece right here. So you're going to put it in there, and I'll try to stay where you guys can see. And you want to get that center seam lined up with the red line. So I'm looking straight over it of the brim. Now, this has a brim holder. It's designed for flat brims, but if you really need to, you can smoosh it down. It'll just help hold things on. But before you do that, you need to wrap your cap kind of holder onto the brim. And what you're going to do is you're going to push this metal piece as close to that brim as you can get it before you hook it down here. Trying to do it blind. Give me 1 second. Can't do it blind.
Dang.
Be impressed with myself if I could.
Right.
And then you clip it closed. Okay. So that got a little bit off. Let me see if I can adjust it real quick. Okay, we'll try a second time to do it blind. Hey, got it that time. Okay, so it's still a little bit off, but what I'm going to show you is that as long as you're within the margins that it can move the design, I can use my placement tools to adjust that design so that I don't have to sit here and try to hoop again and again and again. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this nice and tight down on to the frame, and there's edges here and here.
On the side,
and I'm going to take these binder clips and I'm going to clip them. Okay, don't pull so hard you can't get the binder clip on, Caitlin.
There we go.
I'm going to pull the binder clips off repeatedly. Okay. Put the binder clip on. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. I've lost one of my clips, but I have to think one clip will be good.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. So you may have noticed that my cap frame is held up nicely. This is going to be the cap frame jig for loading your cap frame.
Got it.
So this, we happen to have this on a purpose-built cabinet for multi-needles or for free arms, so it can clamp to this, but this unit here can clamp to the side of any table that it will fit in order to be ratcheted down and held in place for you to load your caps.
Perfect.
So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the hat then from this loading jig. Again, if you want to put your brim down, if you have a truly flat brim hat, you can use this.
Okay.
But otherwise you can just leave it alone and it won't make any trouble.
Got it.
Okay, so the way you're going to take off the cap frame is you have these flaps on the side, and you're going to press against these two spots right there. It's going to pull right off.
Perfect.
Okay. And then, of course, we can't just stick it on this way because the brim is in the way. So we're going to rotate it. You're going to be careful to avoid the needle. Just be nice and gentle with it. And then you're going to click it into place.
Perfect.
Okay. So now what we can see on here, one of the nice things about the Capella is our bright red crosshairs. Can you see those?
Yeah.
It's easier if I can't lock those LEDs. There we go. Here, let me see if I can lock that one too. There's that crosshair.
Easy. Okay.
So what you can see then is where the center, if you look here, I've got my little green crosshair on the screen showing me where this crosshair is.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, I can see I hooped it about 1/4 of an inch off, but I have plenty of play for that. So I'm going to get this crosshair right there, dead on that.
Perfect.
On that line. And that to me is a little too high. And I do have a little bit of play, so I'm able to scoot that down.
Awesome.
And from there, you just stitch it out.
Got it.
So we unlock and we hit start, and it's just going to start stitching. Okay, so now you can see it has completed our monogram. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the same thing I did to take it off of the jig over there. I'm going to hold on to the flaps here and press against the jig itself. Pull it towards me, make sure I move my brim out of the way, and then I'm going to take off my clips, release the brim holder, set that aside, and there you have it.
Perfect.
Quick and easy. Okay, should we tell them about some of the fun stuff going on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so as you guys know, we always have super fun stuff going on here and at our other locations. So we just wanted to make sure you guys knew about some of our fun events coming up. So if you want to just settle down onto the flyers that I'm going to do. Perfect. We have the OESD Stitch Trip coming up in just a few weeks. There's still a little bit of space left. So if anybody wants to come to the OESD Event Center on May 30th and 31st to get the kits to work on these 5 beautiful projects as a big fun group on radiances, please don't hesitate to sign up for this one. It's going to be a blast. Of course, we always have Emerald Club coming up. The next ones, May has already happened, but June is right around the corner. And so you can always check the Biso and Company calendar to see when the next club is coming to your store. We would love to have you. Of course, summer camp is coming. For all my parents out there, I know you're already thinking of what you're going to do with your kiddos for the summer. What better thing to do than teach them to sew? We do still have a few sessions with space, although several are already filled up at our Tulsa location, Oklahoma City, Fayetteville, and Humble. So check the dates against your calendar. They can come to either an AM 9 to noon session or a PM 2 to 5 session. It's 5 days, so it's a Monday through Friday camp. It's $2.99, and they're going to receive a sewing machine at the end, a Notions kit of tools, the fabric that they need for the projects we'll make, and of course, all the learning that they can handle. Last thing I want to show you about today is we do have Barbara Harper coming with AccuQuilt at the beginning of June. She's going to do 2 different lecture sessions. The first to give you all the good information you need on getting started with AccuQuilt, or if you already have it, increasing your knowledge. And then in the PM session, she is going to be doing a deep dive into cubes and how they come together to make all kinds of quilt blocks, to make mix and match or matching quilts, how they work together, how easy they make it to cut out quilts. This is not an event to be missed. It's $59 per session, or if you're an Emerald Plus member, $41. So hop online at bsew.com to sign up for any of these great events near you.
Perfect.
Okay. We always give something away, right?
Always.
If you're going to be monogramming hats, maybe you've got people with different color preferences, so you need a lot of different colors. So we thought today we would give away this Floriani Shades of Purple 15 spool thread set.
Purple's my favorite.
It's my daughter's favorite too, so maybe I'll like, share, and comment. It has a retail value of $89.99, and we would love for one of you to take it home.
Perfect.
Of course, how we do that, like I just said, is like share, or comment to win this wonderful set of thread. And even if you don't win, the discounts we're going to give for this week is 30% off of any Floriani thread sets. They come anywhere from like 8 spools all the way up to 120 spools. We'll do 30% off of those. Perfect. And then we're going to do an additional 15% off of the already low sale prices on any multi-needle or free arm accessories. So things like that cap frame. So we're actually double dipping a sale this time on the multi-needle accessories, which is not something we normally do. So definitely make sure you take advantage of these discounts.